And I wonder whether that was swept under the carpet or was an oversight, because the lead judgment was detailed on all other issues. And they said all the issues there have been overtaken by event in all our own issues.
This particular decision of today of the erudite jurists have further enriched our jurisprudence.
It now coincided with the judgment of the Supreme Court yesterday, so it was an opportunity for me to also to congratulate Mr. President, and we talked a lot about the country.
And as well, it is clear, crystal clear to all Nigerians that our president won this election free, fair.
And so that's why I said I disagree respectfully, even though the decision is binding.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Plan B TV News. Election petition is over and a lot of people are happy while majority are angry. So though a lot of people really want to see the end of the petitions and how the judicial will conclude the petitions that were signed against Bola Ahmed Tinubu, a lot of people are jubilating that the conclusion have been reached, while some are grieving that, okay, they did not judge the case as they expected. Anyway, for what that matters, I want you guys to see what Reno Mokri said and how he jubilates knowing that the election is over and it was ruled in favor of Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
From the day I was born till today, I have not suffered the way I've suffered from the hands of obedience. And I'm telling you, Peter Obi, you will never be president of Nigeria.
Reno Mokri is an attention seeker. I don't really know what the obedience did to him that he always want to attack Peter Obi. He never speak about Atiku, maybe because his master is from PDP, but one time you see him saying that, oh, I don't support APC, but the other time you see him defending the APC government. I don't really know what's wrong with him, but that's not the major reason we are reporting this particular news. So let's focus on how the petition went in court. I want you guys to watch what San Ken Okonkwo said immediately after the conclusion of the judicial petitions were made in front of the court when the journalist interviewed him.
As a fine imposed on the second respondent for the proceeds of narcotics and money laundering by the District Court of Illinois. I sat down too. I did not hear it. And I wonder whether that was swept under the carpet or was an oversight, because the lead judgment was detailed on all other issues. And they said all the issues there have been overtaken by event in all our own issues. And I did not hear the issue of the forfeiture. And so that's why I said I disagree respectfully, even though the decision is binding.
The 4% issue has also been laid to rest.
Yes, it has been laid to rest. The Supreme Court has the authority to interpret the Constitution. It is their prerogative as the arm of government imbued with the power to interpret. That is the interpretation they have given to it, and it is binding on us all. That's what I'm going to say on it.
What's your take on the reasoning of IRA? How does it going to affect our future elections?
That is very interesting, because the only paragraph the Supreme Court brought to the notice of the world, which was quite interesting, is that even the Supreme Court agreed that non-uploading of the result on IRA reduced the confidence of the people in the election. I heard it clearly. Meaning that even the Supreme Court agrees that the election was not credible, or as credible as it ought to have been if the result was uploaded. So credibility is one of the three arms of an election, but the people free, fair, and credible. Credible means believable. Why shut out the people for the rights the law has given unto them? So I was very glad that the Supreme Court pointed it out, that non-uploading of the result reduced the confidence of Nigerians in it, meaning that it cannot be presumed to be credible because Nigerians were shut out in it. So I love that particular part. Thank you.
You have heard from him, and he didn't say there. Why other people are complaining that, okay, the judicial did not rule in favor of their political party. At the same time, maybe not because it did not rule, maybe because it did not rule in fairness, justice, and equity. But on the other hand, I want you guys to hear what Kogi State's Yaya Bello one said in all of this on how he rejoiced with Bola Ahmed Tinubu over the recent concluded petitions in court.
This particular decision of today of the erudite jurists have further enriched our jurisprudence. And as well, it is clear, crystal clear to all Nigerians that our president won this election free, fair. And I congratulate INEC as well for a job well done. It couldn't have been better than this at this time, even though there are areas of improvement. But I congratulate them for taking their time painstakingly to do a good job that has been affirmed today by the highest court in land. I congratulate all of us. And like I admonished earlier, that opposition should just sheath their sword, support the government of the day. If Mr. President succeed, it is Nigerians that succeed. And we are praying and working hard that Mr. President should succeed, because when your leader succeeds, it touches on all the followers. So we are praying that Mr. President is going to succeed, is going to deliver dividend of democracy to Nigerians, and Nigeria is on the path of the renewed hope that he promised us earlier. So I thank you all.
Anyway, Yaya Bello, on the other hand, is not far-fetched from rain or mockery attitude on how is either here or there. So I want us to focus on the full analysis of the Arise TV News during their interview with Kenneth Okonkwo on how he explained the whole issues and how he said that he's fully disappointed with the Chief Judge and how they pass out their judgment. But based on he is a legal practitioner and the Supreme Court have the final say, it will agree to them because the case have already been concluded and is closed. Well, let's watch what he said during the Arise TV News. We'll be right back.
Thank you for having
long
me.
day, I imagine, because you were there listening to that very long judgment from the Supreme Court. I mean, you were in court.
Oh, yes.
But we appreciate your being here. So what's your reaction to this judgment? Were you surprised that the Supreme Court affirmed Bola Tinubu as president of Nigeria?
Well, one can say that the judgment of the Supreme Court may have clothed his presidency with constitutionality, because Section 235 made it clear of the Constitution that the decision of the Supreme Court is final, but it has not clothed his presidency with democracy, because democracy means the rule of the people, and it means that power must proceed only from the people. And let me tell you what the Supreme Court said that is very telling. Justice John Inyango Koro, while delivering JSC, while delivering the judgment, he looked right to his colleagues and looked left. He said, let us admit that the non-uploading of the result on the IREF portal reduced the confidence of the people in the election.
Reduced, but didn't eliminate it.
Good. That is how the judges talk. Reduced means it wasn't as credible as it would have been if the law was obeyed that said you should upload on the IREF portal for the people to view. And this is in line with all the decisions of the international and local observers.
But not so lacking in credibility that it made them decide that they were going to go against the decision of the lower court.
What they said was, look, the only result we have is the one presented by INEC. We do not have alternative result presented to counter it. Now, let me tell you the implication of that. In mathematics, I did mathematics and I did advanced level mathematics. If you're given a mathematical question and you go straight to quote the answer, they will probably say you stole the answer. You must start with quoting the formula and giving the statements.
Really in statistics.
Good.
You've got to have the formula.
Before you give the answer.
Yeah.
You know what INEC did? They simply came and quoted an answer that somebody won the election against the express position of the Act. The Act said you have to compile, update, and maintain, polling unit by polling unit, all the results. And you must be ready to show it to any person or political party that demands it. And that is when you would now pronounce a winner. And I'm talking about section 62, subsection 2 and 3 of the Electoral Act. INEC did not. They just woke up one day at the dead of the night, 4:30 a.m., and declared an answer, which we did not know the formula or the statements that they arrived at to get that answer. So how can you tell the petitioners to produce polling unit by polling unit the result to prove their election, where the institution that is bestowed by the power, giving 400 billion naira to do that, failed to do it? And then you're asking, where will we get it from? The credibility of this election will forever be tarnished. And I agree with the Supreme Court that the confidence of the Nigerian people in this election was reduced. And for me, it was destroyed.
But can you, strictly from a legal point of view, do you broadly accept and respect the reasoning of the court in reaching its decision?
The court gives decision issue by issue. If you give me the question issue by issue, I will give you the answer issue by issue. But like I said, the Supreme Court is clothed with the cloak of finality. I disagree with their judgment, but I accept it as a Democrat.
Well, let's go through some of the points that Justice Okoro raised. I mean, what is your assessment? I know you've touched on it briefly, but let's kind of go more pointedly into it. What is your assessment of his pronouncement on the IREV and electronic transmission of results? Because he seemed to have decided that it is not the ultimate method of collation.
Good. And that is where, with respect to the Supreme Court, they got that all wrong. And I'm talking about the law, not my opinion. The Supreme Court was romancing paragraph 93 of the regulations and guidelines of the conduct of election by INEC. Thank God, by even mentioning the paragraph 93, they have agreed that subsidiary legislation is part of our laws. Now, paragraph 93 is not even applicable to this petition at all. Paragraph 93 is in a case where there is no hard copy of Form EC8A. What you would do in a case where there is no hard copy of Form EC8A. It is not the case of the petitioners that there was no hard copy of Form EC8A. So the Supreme Court, even relying on 93, is even wrong. It does not even apply. But let me tell you what they did that brought the whole contradiction. Supreme Court was saying that uploading on IREV was not mandatory. Good. Even by the paragraph 93 they quoted. Paragraph 93 said, if Form EC8A is not there, you use the result electronically transmitted and you use the result uploaded on IREV to declare the result. So if the law does not mandate the uploading of result on IREV, where would you see it to use? This is by the paragraph 93, which they love so much, which is not applicable because it is not the paragraph that is responsible for collation. The paragraph that is responsible for collation is paragraph 48, A and B. I am surprised the Supreme Court did not even mention it at all. Let me tell you what it said. It said there shall be collation only when the collation officer confirms the veracity of the result in the beavers of the accredited voters and confirms, I'm talking about B now, of 48, of the number of votes that is transmitted electronically into the system, that if the collation officer does not have it to confirm, to verify, there shall be no collation. This is by paragraph 48AB. Meanwhile, paragraph 38I and II said INEC must electronically transfer and transmit using beavers to the electronic system. And you do a scan copy of the result and upload it on IREV. These are two different things. Transmitting to the INEC server or whatever you call it and uploading on IREV. These are two different things. Stated in paragraph 38, I and II. Let me tell you something. Supreme Court talked about section 60, which talks about transfer. They did not mention anything about section 64. And section 64 is the section that deals with collation. And I'm talking about the Electoral Act. And section 64, 4AB, made it clear. The collation officer shall collect result and announce it subject to his or her verification of the manual result with the result in beavers and with the results electronically transmitted. I'm talking about section 64, 4A and B. Supreme Court did not mention it. So how can you be mentioning sections that has nothing to do with collation? And then you're telling us that it is not in accordance with the law.
Well, you sound like you make a convincing argument. Maybe you should have been the lead lawyer for the Labour Party making that argument, because in terms of the submission,
Yes.
which of course includes your party, the Labour Party, the petitioner's submission, I mean, with regard, for instance, to malpractices at polling units, I mean, the court said it didn't see the facts from the petitioners, only what appeared to be anecdotal evidence. I mean, did you get a sense of clarity there? Because you have to wonder, I mean, in a court, as you well know, it's about evidence and the quality of your arguments to support that evidence. I mean, do you think the Labour Party's sort of legal team perhaps fell short?
Well, we have very brilliant lawyers. I respect them very passionately. They put in their best. But when it comes
But
to
their
issue,
best clearly wasn't good enough.
it was good enough. But according to the realist school of jurisprudence, whatever the judges say is the law becomes the law, irrespective of whatever you do as a lawyer.
It's a dictatorship, is it?
So, but you know, I was talking about the collation, because our problem in this country is not people going to vote. It's what happens at the collation centers. The whole idea of the electronic transmission is not about free fair. It is about credible election. It is to check the malpractice that goes on in the collation. Good. Now, you know, collations are at different levels. You have the ward level, you have the local government level, you have the state level, you have the federal government level. Do you know, INEC made provision for electronic transfer for each level. So INEC said when you finish the election at the polling unit, you transmit from the polling unit in real time using beavers. And then you will carry the form EC8A and the beavers, and I'm talking about paragraph 38, III. You carry these two to the collation center, that's the first ward center. And the collation officer must compare the two results. And I'm talking about paragraph 50V. And when they finish comparing and collating, they transmit electronically from the collation center. And I'm talking about 50XX, with which the next collation level will use to collate. And when they transmit at the local government level, when they finish, and I'm talking about paragraph 53, XII, they will still transmit electronically to guide the one in the state. And I'm talking about 54, XII, paragraphs, regulations, INEC wrote as subsidiary legislation. I'm surprised the Supreme Court did not see all this.
Well, I mean, to be fair, it sounds sort of, for the ordinary person on the street, I mean, you are obviously a legal expert. It sounds monstrously complicated, but let's go
It's straightforward.
let's go to the issues that appear to be more straightforward. For example, the issue of the Federal Capital Territory of Abuja. They adopted the position of the Election Petitions Tribunal that Abuja has no special status. What is your reaction to that?
The interpretation of the Constitution is the sole prerogative of the court.
So you agree with their interpretation then?
Whether I agree or not is not the issue. This is now the position of the law. And like I said, you can't take the power away from them. It is the power the Constitution has given to them.
Right.
They say, after reading this, this is our interpretation. Prior to this, such a situation has not arisen in practical terms in any election. This is the first time that a presidential candidate will be so unpopular that he did not win 25% in the FCT. That's why I said you may have had a constitutional government, but not a democratic one.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That is their interpretation, and I respect it.
Just to confirm that, in terms of some consolation to be taken away from that judgment by the opposition parties, they did say, and you confirmed that not uploading the result electronically reduced the confidence of Nigerians.
And that implicitly means there was no credibility in it. In the eyes of the people.
It doesn't mean that there was it means that...
Can you interpret it?
Well, I don't want to get into the verbiage, but it just means that there perhaps could have been more confidence rather than less.
Well, at least what you said is there was less.
Yeah,
from your interpretation.
But it depends on how you quantify
in Sailor
less.
Society,
you see what I mean?
Professor Mahmoud
That's really
resigned by that statement from the Supreme Court.
Yes, you could make that argument.
No, I have been making it. And thank God the Supreme Court has
you could certainly make that argument.
That you did not do what you ought to have done to get the credibility of this election and make it convincing to the people. And after spending this humongous amount, my own opinion respectfully is that he should step down.
So what's the next move for the Labour Party? Is it now to look towards 2027? Because, I mean, Peter Obi still commands a very large, almost fanatical following with the obedience. I mean, clearly he's still got a political future.
So before moving to the next level, will it surprise you to hear that Supreme Court did not make any determination at all on our issue 4? Which is about the forfeiture of $460,000 by the second respondent, which is Bola Tinubu, for the proceeds of narcotics and money laundering, which was imposed on him. In contrariness to Section 137(1)(d) of the Constitution, the Supreme Court did not make any pronouncement on it. They did not say anything about the issue. So wouldn't it be right for me to say the judgment is either incomplete or incomprehensive? Because the law is that the court is under a duty to pronounce on every issue brought to it by any petitioner or by a party. I did not hear it. I did not know the reason.
Right. But clearly they've delivered their judgment. And as you conceded, it's a final judgment.
That is exactly what I'm saying, that I accept as a Democrat, but I disagree.
No, I understand that. But what I'm asking you now is, what's the next move for the Labour Party?
My principal, Peter Obi, will always be my mentor. You can imagine a man that came in, shook the system, moved gloriously in. Until today, nobody has said anything that dented his image in character, incapacity, and incompetence. That is the people's leader. So he has the brightest future. And when he calls us and tells us what the future is, then we will follow accordingly.
But would you, moving forward, would you, in the Labour Party and perhaps as an individual, are you prepared to work with President Tinubu, or is that going to be hard, given that he's someone you've been very critical of?
I just told you I have a mentor.
Well, you can have more than one mentor.
Well,
or more than one boss.
When I have more than one boss, I'll let you know. So for now, I give him the privilege to determine the next line of action.
Well, what about your members? I mean, do you expect the elected ones to possibly start defecting? I mean, lawmakers, for instance, who feel the pressure of your loss in the National Assembly? I mean, we've seen that happen with losing parties in the past. Or do you think that the Labour Party has an ideology that binds them together and they've forged their politics in it?
Let me concede that a whole lot of people are in politics for different reasons. Some people are there to make the money. Some people are there to make the power. Some people are there to make the people. I belong to that category that entered politics to make the people, because the greatness I enjoy today is from the love of people. I cannot say the same thing with people whose intention is to make money or to make power. Whatever party they belong to, their drive will always be, where is their bread buttered? And so you should expect anything to happen. And until it happens, you would have to make me God for me to know the intent of man, which I am not.
Well, I certainly will not attempt to make you
God bless you.
But I do enjoy talking with you, and I think that your brilliance always comes through every time we talk. Thank you very much indeed, Kenneth. Kenneth Okonkwo is a Nollywood star, lawyer, and spokesperson for the Labour Party's Presidential Campaign Council. Good to see you again.
All right, we're going to be ending the video here today. I want you guys to tell me your opinion. What do you guys think about how the case have been and how the case was concluded? And what is your own take about these whole issues? Do you really believe that the court ruled in favor of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, or it just rule in fairness, equity, and justice? Or do you just think that, okay, as usual now, difficult to remove a sitting president, not after he have spread out his wings and position everybody, and even when he was not a president, he was able to shut down the mouth of everybody with his money. Not talking about when now he's a president and he has more power and more money. I don't even think it's going to be possible. So, what do you guys think about these whole issues? I want to hear from you in the comment section. Do you really have faith now that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is full-time president and nothing can remove him to the next 8 years except during another elections? If I don't even think he can lose this coming election, so it's going to be like the next 8 years. So, what is your faith in the next 8 years with Bola Ahmed Tinubu and how he has been ruling the country for the past 5 months? What do you think, or what do you foresee in the future? Do you really think like Nigeria can become like Lagos? When people speak about Lagos, but not all aspect of Lagos is well developed. It's just like some certain areas of Lagos that is well developed under him before. But do you really think can even fix Nigeria like the way he's boasting? For the past 5 months, for what I'm seeing, increment in Smith and the increase in fuel, the increase in foodstuff, and the increase in everything in Nigeria is alarming. So I don't really know if Nigeria continue this way, that there might be light at the end of the tunnel. Since the light we are supposed to see at the end of the tunnel, somebody already off it. So Bola Ahmed Tinubu have already begun to borrow, starting from where Buhari ended. So what is your take? I want to hear from you. Should we just keep our finger crossed, or fold our hands, or put our hands in our joy and wait and see what the next 4 years outcome will be? So just comment your thoughts. We love you guys. I love to read your comments. And if you watch our video, you give it a thumbs up. It helps the content to grow. And at the same time, God bless you for all your good work that you are doing in our platform. If it is the first time I'm coming across our video, please just follow our page or subscribe to our channel. It depends on where you're watching it from. All our returning subscribers, God bless you, and God continue to bless you in all ramification of your life. Whatever you desire good this year, it will come to you ease, even at the dying minutes of the year end. So we love you. Remember, God love you more. Until we meet again. Peace out.
Say now who they yes on a Plan B TV. Plan B TV. Everybody make you wake up to Plan B TV. I'll give you the news I see the hot up. You subscribe and give them thumbs up. Now they go give you the updates. They are the new blocks in the town. Now they go give you the gist though. Now they go give you all the news, cause it's kind of weather you need all the fun, oh. I said now who they is on a Plan B TV. Plan B TV. I said now who they is on a Plan B TV. Plan B TV. I said now who they is on a Plan B TV. Plan B TV. Plan B TV. Plan B TV. Plan B TV.